Hi Stampers, I'm Meg from LovenStamps, and you are here for Maker Mornings with Meg, which is our daily project for Stampin' Up. I am excited to share with you some of the mess that's sitting behind me. So yesterday I had a stamping friend ask me about Many Messages stamp set, which is this guy right here. And it is one stamp with many messages on it, 26 or something like that, 27, I don't remember exactly. But the stamp looks like this, and there is a single die that matches it. Hey Trish, hey Cindy. Basically, I started playing. I stamped a couple rounds of it and cut them all out and figured we would use them on our cards today. So, hey Tanya. So let's see, let me tell you a little bit about this stamp and die. So like I said, it's all here on one big block. And I think the easiest way to use it is to just ink it up and stamp it and cut it all out and then have a whole collection of these pieces ready to go. And kind of on behind my shoulder here, you can see that I did that with the white, Whisper White. I just went ahead and stamped it in Memento Black and cut it out. And I'll probably stick those greetings in like a little envelope. I love to use my clear envelopes, the regular medium-sized ones, for gathering little bits and keeping them in my stamp case. And then I also did one from Basic Black cardstock. Here, you can see that, that I heat embossed with white ink. So I stamped in Versamark and then heat embossed, and then have this whole set of greetings to go there. So if we have time this morning, I'll show you a bonus card that uses that one. So, all right. But, you know, yesterday we talked a little bit about the process of how a card develops. And so I thought I'd kind of follow up on that and talk a little bit about today's process, which starts with the stamp set, the Many Messages stamp, and then continues on because I thought, well, you know what, I have a message, so I need some kind of image to go with it. And I decided to grab my Flower and Field Designer Series paper, since I only have a couple of more days to use this. You, of course, can keep using it, but it's a celebration item, so their celebration ends in, gosh, 4 days now. So watch out for that. It ends the 28th of February. There's only 28 days. So I'm gonna use this. And then I thought, okay, I need some kind of florally stamp set maybe to go with it. Something that complements the type of flowers. So I didn't want something too detailed. I didn't want something with like a totally different look to it. So I picked up my Friend Like You stamp set, which has a coordinating die that is fabulous. And you guys are really gonna love this. So, all right. Hey, Kay and Sandy and Sue and Kathy and Elaine. I'm glad you guys are here. So let me, let's see. I think, whoops. There we go. All right. So I'm going to flip you guys down here and get you all set up. And we are going to start here with our card base. So like I said, Flower and Field Designer Series paper. So this is a 4x12 piece of paper, and I've scored it at 5.5 inches and 11 inches, which is my favorite for DSP card bases. And we're gonna do this one a little bit differently than the one I showed in a previous Maker Mornings with Meg. This was one of the other cards that I showed, and you can see it's the same kind of card layout here. I just put a back on it and did some other things. So this video is available in the playlist if you're looking, but we're gonna turn it sideways this time. So I'm gonna fold here and then fold back, and then we have our card base. And then I like to put a layer of cardstock on the inside so that I have just a nice stable card. So I might go ahead and do that now. The inside card layer is 5.25 inches by 3 3/4. And the reason that this card size is a little bit less than our norm is that then you can get 3 cards out of a sheet of Designer Series paper, okay? All right, so the die set, it's called Friendly Silhouettes dies, and there are a number of dies in here. There are the palm trees, there are these cattails, the little dragonflies, and which I've already cut here from Granny Apple Green, this really pretty floral scene. And so what I'm gonna do with this is go ahead and peel it off. Now this die doesn't actually cut across the bottom. So what you get is a set of connected flowers, which is exactly what we want. I wouldn't love it quite as much if they weren't connected and I had to figure out how to use them all separately. So, all right, so let's get this peeled out here. So this is gonna be our base. Now, a couple things here. First of all, I really want the taper to go the other direction, so that's easy to fix. We're gonna turn it this way. But next, you can see it is really hard to see the detail in this on our paper. So I decided to add a layer of vellum behind it. So what the vellum's gonna do is go ahead and mute the pattern in the background, but still let it shine through. I don't wanna cover all the pattern, that's why we're using designer paper, right? But then I looked at this and I felt like, you know what, it's still not enough. So I decided to add a second layer of vellum, a little bit narrower. So this one's only 3 inches wide. I think the other's probably 3 3/4. And what that's gonna do for us is mute that background even more so that it really lets our die cut stand out here. See how much that makes a difference, okay? So think about vellum when you're working with a busy background and you want to mute it just a little bit, okay? We're gonna add something to it as we go along here, but we're gonna leave it for now, so. All right, so now I have this very pretty green silhouette, but I thought, you know what? It would be really nice if this had a little bit of color to it. So you could do a couple things. You could color these, you could take a marker and just go right over the cardstock. But I decided to do a little paper piecing. And so I cut this die out again from Real Red and from Bumblebee. And let me pop this off here. All right, now here's a lesson that I learned. The first time I cut this, I cut it from I just cut the flowers, right? Because that's all I need. And it worked fine, but what I found is that for this next step, you're gonna be really happy if you just take a little bit more paper and cut the whole thing so that the flowers are all attached. So I have one in Bumblebee and one in Real Red. And what I'm gonna start to do, I'll kind of set this aside here, is go back, use my Take Your Pick tool, and I am going to start to assemble. So multi-purpose liquid adhesive is my favorite for this. And what I'm gonna do is go ahead and glue, I don't know, a couple at a time. So maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've just put a little dot of glue on there. Remember, I always say with the multi-purpose liquid adhesive, if you can see it, it's enough glue. And then I'm gonna cut off these blossoms from my red here. 1, 2, 3, 4, which ones did I do? 5, and try to keep them from going everywhere, okay? But you can probably see already why it was so much easier to have these right there still on the stalks, because then I could match them up and cut exactly the ones I needed rather than having to figure out, where does this random little flower match up? So it's much quicker to kind of do it this way, I found. So do yourself a favor and cut them out fully. Okay, so we've got that on there. And then I might go back and add these long stalks here with a yellow, with a Bumblebee, or you can mix and match and put them together. But if you like to do puzzles, this is a great kind of puzzle experience. And the other thing that's really terrific about this is just use your Take Your Pick tool. So I'm using both the pointy end and the gum end. And if you didn't realize, there are sections that come out for this. So this pointy end is actually the spatula end as well as the piercing tool. So kind of keep in mind that you have some selections there. But what I like to do is go ahead and pop some glue on. So there's 2 little glue flowers. I'll come back to my template piece that I'm cutting from, and then I will pick them up with my Take Your Pick tool and pop them on. And usually I use my other fingernail to just pop it off the end of my take your pick tool. So, all right, and if you have to flip them over, you have to flip them over. Okay, all right, so there you go. When it's all finished, it looks like this. So we have a whole strip of different colored flowers on there, and we're gonna bring this back to our card. So let's bring this back in here, get our vellum kind of lined up. And I'm gonna make the vellum go behind so that we have a nice contrast here with our strip that's gonna be on the edge, but I'm gonna have our flowers go on the front. And you see how much that extra bit of color really dresses up the front of this. And if you're wondering where I got the real red, the inspiration for that came from the same Flower and Field paper, because this has real red in it. And if you're ever forgetting what colors are included, you can always flip paper from Stampin' Up to the back side of the package, and it'll remind you what colors are included in that, okay? All right, so we have this. Now, let's see. So what I wanted to do though is make it feel like these are still connected. Sometimes I talk about like connecting the card foreground to the background. And for this, I felt like this is kind of laying on top of here. It's not really related to the background. So how could I tie those two together better? And I picked up my handy dandy template piece here that was left over from when I die cut my bumblebee flower strip. And so I'm gonna set this aside a little bit. I'm gonna use this kind of as a, pattern, be gentle with that, so that I kind of remember where this goes. And I'm going to set this just a little off and a little, I swear I'm gonna lose that little flower, a little over to the side. I wanna kind of keep it straight. And I'm gonna use this as a mask. Now, if you're looking forward to Paper Pumpkin next month in March, which is the one that you'll get if you sign up for Paper Pumpkin now, you'll know that there are 4, or you might not know, there are 4 stencils that are sort of the free gift that's gonna be included with that Paper Pumpkin. So I'm gonna give you a stenciling idea here. You can use your die cut elements for stenciling. Now, if you don't have your blending brushes yet, they are on not orderable status. They will come back eventually, so you just have to keep waiting. You could also use a sponge dauber for this, and you would just ink your sponge dauber, those are the little finger ones, and tap through here, or a Stampin' sponge, same thing, ink and tap. But since I have my blending brushes, I'm gonna go ahead and tap through here. So I'm gonna wipe and tap, wipe and tap. Ooh, that was pretty dark there. Nah, that's okay. It's gonna be a little patchy, and that is the effect that I'm going for. So, all right, tap, 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 tap. And you'll see that as I keep tapping, it might spread the ink a little bit, especially on vellum, which does not dry super fast, so heads up on that. You don't wanna smear this. But really, I'm not adding new ink unless I grab a new wipe across my pad there. So, all right. I'm so glad that you like the tips, Trish. Okay, so now we have a really pretty soft background. Now this by itself wouldn't necessarily have a ton of impact, but when we layer this here on our card again, and then add our paper pieced element over the top, now do you see how that little bit of smudged stamped background really helps to tie the layers together, okay? All right, so now I am going to go ahead and start to adhere, but I have some more layers I'm gonna put in the front because I don't love the way this sits on the front. And then of course, I need to bring in my dies. So let me adhere and then I'll talk more about the greeting dies. So the first thing I'm gonna do is, let's see. The first thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and adhere my flowers from here across, because until I have my flowers down, I don't know where I'm safe to put my vellum on the bottom layers. So I'm gonna pop this to the back, and I'm going to run some multi-purpose liquid adhesive here and on, maybe not all, but certainly on this one little bloom that's trying to pop off our card. Remember, if you can see the glue, it is enough. You don't have to like glob on or have a big dimensional dot on there or anything. All right, and let's see. I think what I can do is go ahead and adhere here, because this is gonna hold everything down a little bit. So I'm gonna put a strip of adhesive across here, I'm gonna line up my first vellum layer so that it kind of goes to the edge of the card and is glued right there. I'm gonna put another strip of adhesive on top of it and center my next layer. Okay, so kind of, let's see, I guess I'm off the screen here. Centered across here. And then finally, I am going to pop this down because remember, I want this to be on top. So I guess I'm safe now. I can go back and put some glue on this too. I hadn't quite figured out how I was gonna do that. Just think about where your layers are gonna go and what you need to stick down. So, all right. So now I'm gonna bring my flowers back in here, including that one little stray blossom at the end, and layer this down on my card. Okay, come on. There we go. All right, now, if you've seen me use green lid glue before, you know that I always say it doesn't grab instantly, so you want to give it a chance to grab on, which is good. I am going to bring in my dies here. So many messages, one single stamp, stamp once on Whisper White cardstock with my Memento Black, cut once with the coordinating die, and we get all these messages. And I just want to highlight a couple of these because they're messages that I don't have in other stamp sets, and I really, really like them. This one, be strong, be brave, you've got this, is the one, whoops, that I'm going to use for this card, so I'm going to set that aside. It has happy birthday, which we all have. Hooray, it's your birthday, which is fun. This one, wishing you a year of magical moments and wonderful memories. If you have any Disney fans, magical moments is a great buzzword for that. I'm here to celebrate. Happy anniversary, which doesn't appear in a ton of sets. And then these inside greetings too. Thinking of you with sympathy and prayers. Really nice to have that available in a big stamp like this. If you don't want to have a single full stamp set of sympathy greetings or sympathy messages to share with people. Some congratulations. Hoping your day is full of love, laughter, and joy. I mean, what could you, there are a lot of great things for that, so. All right. And then this one, your kindness means more. They're just a lot of really great ones. Now, when you're using this die, I do have a tip for you. On the stamp, there are these little four corners, kind of. They're not at the corners, but they're at the sides. There's 3 stars and a heart. So when you use the die, what you want to do is you want to use those as your anchors, because the message windows have lots of sort of slush room in them. But the stars and the hearts are so well designed. That is the point that you want to line up when you go to cut your die, okay? So it just makes for great results. Okay, I think we're probably pretty well glued here. Trish says you can hear my voice in your head. I am so sorry. Every time you use your green lid glue. Well, I hope that you find it helpful. Okay, so now this is all flapping around. I want to give that a little bit more stability, and it's safe for me to move this, and I'm going to put some glue on, whoops, the back of the vellum, only where it is touched by the die on the front, because if I just put splotches of glue, it's going to show through the vellum onto the front of my card, and I don't really want that. So, all right, so now we have that. I'm going to set this block on there again. Extra blocks make great weights. So, okay, so now what? Now, like I said, I wanted to break up this line across the front here a little bit, and this paper is a sneak peek. It comes out on Monday as part of the Butterfly Brilliance suite. Here's the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set, the amazing butterfly dies that go with it, the fabulous paper. This is all sneak peek stuff. This will be in the new catalog when it comes out this summer. This designer series paper will not. So this is going to be limited time. And if you're wondering what I've been planning to use for the March LovenStamps tutorials, it's going to be featuring Butterfly Brilliance. So add this to your wish list for starting Monday. And I don't know how quickly it will be. I think it's going to be really popular. So maybe plan to order early rather than later. Unless you want to wait for the back order to come. So this paper is also included in that suite. It is the Natural Touch Specialty Paper, and it is just a little bit it's like shiny and smooth on the front. And it looks like real like balsa wood. It's really fun. On the back, it's got another sort of woody this paper and put it across. So it's just 1/2 inch thick, 1/2 inch wide, and oh, I think I have one cut already. That's 5.5 inches long. So this is going to cover up our intersection there, okay? So I really like that. And then our greeting is going to come in here, one more element all the way across. And so I decided to come in here with the ribbon. Now, here is a tip for you on how to maybe incorporate ribbon if you weren't sure, because I can't just tie this all the way around the card and seal it shut. I mean, I could, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to give you a suggestion, and let's see, here the suggestion is to take the trio punch and use this hole here, which is nicely shaped for our purposes. And what I'm going to do is flip this over to the back so that I can see. And I'm going to slide my card in here. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of layers. I didn't kind of think this through. We'll see. Maybe I will be foiled by my layers. Oops. Can we make it happen? Yep, okay. So now I see all these layers in here, and we're gonna see what happens. It's nice and tight in there, so I don't have to worry too much, unless I throw it, about it shifting. But I'm going to punch there. Oh, look it, perfect. And now I have at the edge of my card a little tiny divot that when I open my card is a hole that allows us to go through here. So what I'm gonna do now is take my, I better put this on, otherwise I'm gonna kind of lose it. I'm using green lid glue and I'm about to not wait for it to dry. Shame on me, right? Okay, so let me pop this on here. And I'm kind of covering up our hole, but that's okay. It's gonna work. All right, so now I'm going to pop my ribbon. This is the Mossy Meadow braided twine. And I'm going to go through my card here. So open it up and put this through the spine and then wrap this around the front. And here we go. Now the next thing I have to decide is where I'm going to put my bow. I do want a bow on here. So do I put the bow here and have the greeting on this side? Or do I put the bow here so that I can have my greeting here at the card opening? I usually try not to put my bow in the center of a card, so I think I'm gonna put my greeting here and tie my bow over here. So the other day I gave a tip on how to tighten ribbons that you put around a card layer, and that tip will work here also, probably. So let me get my bow tied. I'm gonna shorten my bow tails. It's nice and tight. Okay, and then clip my ends. Okay, and then I'm gonna scoot this just a little bit over. I gotta open my card to scoot it just a little bit over so it's a little closer to the edge of my card. Okay, good. And then our greeting is gonna fit on here. Now, if you have a little bit of extra slush in your greeting, you can fix that by putting a dimensional across it. So our greeting is going to go across here. I'm going to take this strip, I'm going to pull all the slack through. There we go. And I am going to pop one more little dimensional over here. Let's see, did I get all the slack? Yep, there we go. See how the braided trim is puffing up there. Get all my slack out of it so that it's all inside here. And now my ribbon is just, or my twine is nice and tight on the front of my card. So, all right, now I'm gonna take my greeting from many messages and pop this here on the front of our card. All right, so we have the inside of our card kind of set. We have the front set, but I want to add one more thing because I really like these ladybug trinkets that we used yesterday. So I'm going to pop one of these on here, and I think, oh goodness, over here, I'm gonna put it over here. I actually, in my original plan, had thought that I might stick her, or him, I don't know, ladybug, over here, but I kind of like the idea of focusing our attention on a single focal point. And so I'm going to go ahead and include it here. And my favorite way to attach those, as I said, yesterday is with the glue dots. So just peel back your glue dot, pop your ladybug trinket on there, and then pick up the glue dot with the ladybug trinket and stick it on your card, okay? All right, so there is card number 1. Let's see, you guys wanna see card number 2? I'm just gonna take a second to show you the other one. The other one uses also the same designer series paper, the same stamp set, but I focused a little bit more on the stamps for this stamp set. So here I use mostly the dies. Here is our card base. A tip for you on this one, instead of the twine, now the braided twine has a lot of heft to it. It has a lot of visual presence, so I didn't feel like I needed to double it or anything like that. But for this card, I wanted to use this twine, which is from or baker's twine, which is from the Snail Mail suite. And it's really, really light. So one string across here got totally lost in the background paper. So I wrapped this around 3 times. And then my trick for this is that I tied my bow around all 3 strings at once, okay? So I grouped them all together so that they weren't like getting all spread out behind my bow and sort of distracting from the attention and things like that. So what I've got now is a greeting to go with this. I'm gonna use one of my white embossed greetings. And if you don't know about heat embossing, we'll have to save that for another day. But I decided I was gonna go ahead and put this on here. Now, it's actually kind of a neat card just like this, really simple, but I wanted to add something to this. So I decided to grab my vellum, because it worked so well on the other card, and my 2 1/4 inch circle punch, and pop a vellum circle behind this area. So now, see how much stronger our greeting is with that extra vellum circle behind it? And then I thought, actually, that's kind of cute. That could be totally a finished card, but you know, I have this really fun stamp set, and this element here would be a really pretty addition. So yeah, let's go ahead and use that. So I have my, the background here, which matches up perfectly with the flowers on the foreground here. And so I'm gonna pull my vellum circle out. I'm gonna set this aside, and I'm gonna go ahead and stamp my greenery in Granny Apple Green, which is a great match for this flower and field paper. And then I decided to use Poppy Parade, which is a little bit brighter red than real red, just because I'm stamping on vellum, and that tends to rob a little bit of the color saturation. So, all right, now I find it easiest to stamp, watch me not to get it right, easiest to stamp the stalks first. Okay, why am I having so much crazy trouble here? Okay, I just did this. There we go, okay. You just gotta keep moving it around until you see it line up. There we go, all right. Whew, made me nervous for a second. So we have our flowers on there now, and I'm gonna bring this back under here. Remember, careful with vellum, it doesn't dry instantly, and pop my greeting on. And then I went, oh, well, that's sad. My flowers are totally lost on my vellum because the paper's so strong in the background. So then enter my 2-inch circle punch and a circle of Whisper or basic white cardstock, and pop this behind here and go ahead and stick that down on top. And now we have a great finished card. So I won't take time to glue that, but that kind of gives you another idea to use with the Friend Like You stamp set and all those fabulous greetings in many messages. So there's kind of 2 fun card ideas for you. And like I said, celebration ends in just a couple days. So if you don't have your supply of the Flower and Field Designer Series paper set yet, then you want to definitely get your orders in for those. I did see a note today about the strawberry set. So if you are waiting on ordering the strawberries die or strawberries punch to go along with it, flipping comments here, be aware that it is not going to have a really large supply enough that will allow Stampin' have to turn ordering on that item back on for quite a while. So you will want to not wait for it. If you were waiting to place your last celebration order and hoping that that punch would be back, you should not wait. So it'll be back sometime this spring, and it will carry over into the next annual catalog, which starts in May. So you'll be able to get it. Don't worry about that. Just maybe not right this minute. And of course, there are lots of other great things here that will get you started. And let's see, Sue said she liked the black message, or the white on black message, but needs to be reminded about embossing. So we will definitely be doing some heat embossing in future Maker Mornings with Meg. So, all right, that brings us, I think, to the end of our card for today. And I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching with us this morning. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. And I apologize if our feed was cutting in and out a little bit. I think we lost some people for a signal this morning, but it'll be available on YouTube and on the Facebook page later if you need to catch any little details that you missed. So as always, supplies are in the description. So, all right, happy stamping, guys. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow.